Hey everyone, this is Mr. Chi. I'm going to show you the Google Drive drawing app. It's at drive.google.com. Okay, it's my preferred drawing app for you to use because it allows you to work with all the objects when you are creating a graph in a way that's a lot easier to edit later in case you make a mistake. Click on Drawing under Create. Okay, you can title your drawing here, but this title is just going to be a file name because everything you draw will be saved to a separate file. So I want to call this Market for Homes in Moreno Valley. And I'm going to go ahead and create a title here for the graph because that title that I just typed up above will not appear on the graph that you save and then upload to Blackboard. And if that doesn't make sense, it will at the end of this video when I actually save the file for uploading to Blackboard. I'm going to create the axes. So we hold down the Shift key, and if you saw what just happened is my crooked line became straight. And that does it if you hold down the Shift key, kind of like the Windows paintbrush program there. I'm going to label the axes. This is the x-axis, going to label it number of homes. I'm going to label the y-axis price, and a nice feature here is that you can rotate the text. Okay, helps you save some room. I'm going to draw in my supply curve, draw my demand curve. Now I don't have a lot of time to kind of make this graph look pretty, otherwise the video would take too long. But you can play around with the colors, how thick things are, making things bold and whatnot. I'll do a little bit of that here just to make us a little bit happier with how the graph looks. Okay, now I'm going to type in S for supply, and then I'm going to type in D for demand. Now, the nice thing about drawing on this Google Drive platform is I can just copy and paste these text boxes wherever I want to. So it just saves some time, and you can delete them pretty easily. So let's put in the equilibrium quantity. Okay, so we can draw in a dotted line. So I'm going to draw a line over, and I hope you saw what I did. I just clicked on the dash there, and we're gonna label this equilibrium price. So I'm going to abbreviate that PE. I'm going to copy, and it tells me how to do that using keyboard shortcuts, and then paste. Okay, so copy, paste, Control C, Control V. This just saves me a little bit of time there. And now I know where the equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price are at. Now I didn't put in numbers here because for this exercise I just care about overall how price and quantity changed, if at all. So if there was a change in demand, let's say where there was a decrease in demand, what would happen as a result? Would my price increase or decrease in equilibrium? Would my equilibrium quantity increase or decrease as a result? Decrease in demand, shift to the left. All right, so now I'm at this new equilibrium. Where is it? Let's label it so we can help communicate what's actually happened. Wow, so the equilibrium quantity decreased. And what do we see here? The equilibrium price also decreased. I'm going to click on the arrow key. That's going to allow me to click on these different objects and copy and paste them, or I could always type them in anew. This is the new equilibrium price. That is the old equilibrium price. I'm going to label the old one PE1 and the new one PE2. Okay, so instead of copying and pasting QE, a little shortcut that I like to use, I will type it in. anew. Okay, so this is QE2, that was QE1. I need to make both boxes bigger to fit so that the 1 is next to the E. I can spend a lot of time kind of just making this look nicer, maybe reducing the size of the font, etc., but I'm not going to. I'm going to also put in a label for the demand curve so that I know how demand shifted, because if I can do that, it's just more clear that demand shifted to the left rather than demand shifting to the right. So D1 is where the demand was before, and D2 is where it is now. Now, you can have in a market an infinite number of changes in supply and demand. Here I just have one change in demand, a decrease. But let's do one more. Let's say on top of demand decreasing, let's say because the number of buyers decreased, let's have an increase in the number of sellers and see what happens. So if supply is affected by an increase in the number of sellers, supply increases, and that's a shift to the right. Some people think that's a shift up, but that would be to the left, and that's not how you model an increase in supply. It's a shift to the right. Okay, so I'm going to make this S2. That'll be S1. And if we say that both demand and supply shifted, as we just mentioned before, you're going to draw a new equilibrium off the new supply curve and the new demand curve. Okay, so this is the new equilibrium off where the new curves cross the new supply and demand curves. Okay, and as a result, what's happened? Okay, so this is the advantage of using math and graphs to describe what happens in the economy, because you can quickly see that the price has fallen as a result, and the equilibrium quantity has actually, with this particular shift and how much the curves shift, the equilibrium quantity actually overall increased, because the supply increase was actually quite large compared to the demand increase. If the supply didn't shift as much to the right, the quantity that we end up with in equilibrium might have actually been lower than where it is right now. So that's the shifting you can do. You can using Google Drawing, and you can put in notations so we can describe what's happening here. If you can spell everything right, you can draw in arrows if you'd like to, showing how things shift to make things even more clear. Now the important part is, how do I get this onto Blackboard? So Google Drive will automatically save this file, Market for Homes in MV, and check it out over here, Market for Homes in MV. It automatically saves it there, and the Blackboard will require you to download it. Okay, so it's saved in Google Drive, but you have to download it in order to upload it to Blackboard. So save it as a PNG or a JPG. Either of those file formats will be the most friendly for Blackboard for other people like me and your classmates to view. Okay, so just click on Save File, and if you don't know where it's saved, make sure you find it. You can always save it again in case you somehow lost it, or right-click like I did, click on Open Containing Folder, and I know it's right here. Okay, so it's in my Downloads folder in my documents on this computer. So when I go back to Blackboard, I'll just navigate back to here, click on that to upload. Thanks a lot. I hope this